All hyperspace systems operating at full power.
If the hyperspace targeting system is accurate, we will emerge in close proximity to the support vessel Kar Salim. This ship has spent the past 10 years traveling on conventional drives to reach the outer Karak system. The Kar Salim will monitor the quantum waveform as we return to normal space and assist in tuning our drive control systems. If the hyperspace module malfunctions, the Kar Salim will provide assistance and resupply. Mission objectives will be to dock with the support vessel in order to complete adjustments to the mothership and her drives.
We made it. Hyperspace jump complete. All systems nominal, and the quantum wave effect has dissipated.
We have misjumped. The support ship is not here. Fleet Command will signal the Kar Salim while we confirm our current position.
This is the mothership calling support vessel Kar Salim. Come in, please. We've misjumped and are requesting your beacon. This is the mothership calling support vessel Kar Salim. Please respond. Commencing Corvette chassis research.
Priority alert, we have picked up the Kar Salim's automated beacon. Send a probe to make contact and re-establish communications.
And so begins Mission 2, our first fight. It's going to be a while before I kick that off, though, because I need to do some fleet prep. But one of my favorite things about this game is they made an attempt, at least, in all the fiction, to have kind of a explanation for why and how everything works. My resourcer, this is supposedly using high-intensity lasers to break up and vaporize interstellar dust and asteroids, and then it sucks them into the cargo hold. How you get suction in vacuum, I'm not entirely clear on yet. Maybe they've got a tracker beam. But it sucks it breaks them down to their constituent elements, stores them aboard the mothership in a particle accelerator, slams them together, recombines them into heavier elements, better alloys, and that's what your ships are made out of. And it just neat little detail, when it vaporizes a dust cloud, it's got a blue laser. When it goes after rocks, it's going for a red laser. So I guess red being the lower intensity laser because it's a higher density object it's going after. Although I guess you would probably want a higher intensity laser for more dense objects, but what do I know? I'm just an engineering student. Really doesn't take it long to fill up, and goes back and dumps it off back at home. You can build ships called resource controllers that you can just park out at asteroid belts, and that gets to be a little, there's no justification for how that works. It doesn't have to come all the way back to the mothership to drop it off. It just parks at the resource controller, dumps it there, and the RUs get added to your balance. I don't use resource controllers, not because for any, self-inflicted roleplay reason. It's just you end up having to divert a substantial defense force to
commencing heavy
protecting your resource operation, and it seems like every time I do that, they always just hit me with more than what I'm using to guard it anyway. This way, when they come back to the mothership, they have to contend with the defensive force I've left at my mothership, which is usually pretty substantial. This should get me my probe. Finish construction of my interceptor wings.
Probe dispatched.
It speeds off to do its job.
They're attacking. The mothership is under attack.
Law formation confirmed.
Engage incoming units. The mothership must be defended.
Law formation confirmed.
Group 3 designated.
Send the interceptors to distract those.
Mothership.
Or the scouts. Can you go ahead and set the mothership to aggressive?
Aggressive tactics.
Heavy Corvette upgrade research complete.
Attack
Heavy Corvette available for construction.
Target confirmed. Reporting for duty. Group 2.
Group 2 reassigned.
Claw locked in. Locked on target.
Nice violent space battle.
Group 2. The combat station.
Really want to take out my research ship for some reason.
Hostile units destroyed.
Entering holding
Threat
pattern.
eliminated.
Group 1 copies.
Mothership sustained minor hull damage.
Have everybody
Repairs are
dock and
underway.
repair.
DocCon enabled.
Production underway.
The Car Salim has been destroyed. Heavy weapon damage is visible on the remaining fragment. A salvage corvette must be sent to retrieve the mission data recorder.
Resources exhausted. Construction paused.
Before I do that, though, I'm going to let everybody get patched up and refueled. Ships do have fuel limits, strike craft anyway. That's the blue bar down here.
Reporting.
Getting pretty close to topping that off.
Gotcha.
Construction commencing.
She's in.
But as I tried to demonstrate in my last video with formations, once all these guys get out of here,
Ready for orders.
you've got
Delta formation
your
confirmed.
Delta formation, which standard fighter formation. I don't know, I don't really use it so much because it doesn't have a lot in the way of vertical coverage, but it allows your guys, like these two in evasive mode will split off together, and these two, and these two, and these two, to watch each other's back, like real
Group 2
application in air combat.
Backup assigned to Group 2.
And then you've got broad formation, which is really not useful for fighters. It's more of a capital ship formation. X formation is where you start getting into some real effective fighter formations because you get that vertical coverage. Claw is actually my favorite because you get all three axes, vertical, horizontal, and depth. And then F9 is wall, and this is a definite capital ship formation. This allows all, if these were capital ships, they would all be able to fire at once, and it gets them all into a small area. So if you put all your cap ships into broad, the ends of the line, usually once you get enough ships, they're actually outside their firing range, and it just gets really hard to support everybody. F10 is sphere.
Resources depleted.
Which,
All jobs on hold.
Tell them to guard this scout.
Ready for escort.
You can see how that works. They form a sphere around their guard target. This is actually useful if you've got an undefended target that has no means of shooting back. You can just set everybody into sphere and aggressive, and they'll just park in a 360-degree circle and pound the crap out of it until it dies, which, you know, is always helpful. And you can put the mothership into your group, hit a formation key, and they'll go back to their original configuration, which they call military parade.
Responding.
So
Group 2 reinforced.
Group 1.
Group 1
Reinforced
reassigned.
Scout Wing.
Awaiting assignment.
These early missions, there's a little bit of waiting going on because you're trying to build up your fleet. And I've played this game once a year, every year since it came out. It's kind of my thing. So I know exactly what's going to happen. A lot of people refuse to let themselves, like, I guess it's metagaming it a little bit. But I'm so familiar with the game that I almost literally can't keep from doing it. And so I'm just going to show off my tricks. Like I said, there's a lot of debate over salvage Corvette usage. I can see both sides of it. But on the other end, when I played multiplayer, I think I maybe had one ship stolen out from under me. And in multiplayer, if you can't kill enough salvage Corvettes to keep your stuff from getting stolen, then you're not paying attention, because they've got to grab your ship and haul it all the way back to their mothership or carrier. And in the case of capital ships, they've got to get it back to their mothership. And if you can't blow up one salvage Corvette, which stops the haul process until they bring another one in, before they make that trip, then you weren't going to win that fight anyway. That's my personal opinion. And this is coming from a guy who used to play this with a girl in high school who she could send in assault frigates against my ion frigates and just dance around my ions. The assault frigate doesn't have nearly as much firepower as a ion frigate, but it's not, I say not nearly as much, but it's not as wide a gap as people like to say, and the assault frigate actually has heavier armor. But since the ion frigate has to point its nose at a target and able to fire, she was able to just dance around me for however long it took to blow my ion frigates away. So there are definite sorry. Gonna take a drink here. There are counters to just about everything, and the salvage Corvette is a very delicate unit, and as I said, if you can't blow one away in the time it takes to get back to the hostile mothership, then I don't know what to tell you. Against the AI, though, it is pretty broken, because the AI, I will admit wholeheartedly, doesn't have the presence of mind to focus on your salvage Corvettes. They do seem to prioritize them when they're on their way in, but once I start deploying them in earnest, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. Another resource drop-off.
Thank you.
Which this should finish up this batch of ships. Pretty decent construction rate. You don't spend too much time waiting around, and until you get resources exhausted. But if you're really hurting and getting your butt handed to you, you're not going to have enough time to build up your reinforcements.
Heavy Corvette complete.
Looks like I'm going to be shy an interceptor, but that's fine. These were the guys I
Resources
really wanted to
exhausted.
get done.
Construction paused.
So
Group 3 assigned.
Group 1, report copies. Report.
Group 2
Group 1
reassigned.
receiving. Group 3. Group 2
Salvage
receiving.
Corvette,
Assignment received.
sphere and aggressive.
Standing by. Pattern to sphere formation. Group 2 acknowledged. Ready for orders.
Group 5 designated.
Understood. Target selected
So
for
we're going to come in
salvaging.
there and get right to work. Everybody's got to sort themselves out.
Mothership.
Aggressive tactics enabled. Diverting power to weapons.
And these are pretty nasty units. They've got a lot of firepower, and their special ability is burst attack. I've never been able to figure out if that's meant to be used against strike craft or heavier units, because against strike craft, they always tend to miss. So I'm led to believe that it's supposed to be a anti-frigate or, heaven forbid, capital ship attack. But when I first started playing this, I always assumed it was kind of like a flak burst, but it can never seem to connect with enemy strike craft. I've got everybody in a sphere formation set for aggressive, meaning they won't deviate from their station, but there's enough firepower here that they'll pretty much lay waste to anything that gets within gun range of the salvage corvette. And these heavy corvettes have a serious range advantage, so they will be putting rounds on target long before the fighters even begin to open fire. There's actually a more lethal anti-fighter cruiser, but I won't be unlocking it for quite some time. And until then, the heavy corvette makes a very, very potent argument against hostile strike craft. Just gonna float in here. The enemy tends to ignore your resource operation in this mission, and everything's so strung out that it really doesn't spend a whole lot of time out there anyway. So I usually don't have to worry about protecting him. And kind of the in-universe description for the salvage corvette, it uses a tractor beam to lock on to its target, and then uses, I guess, Wi-Fi to transmit computer viruses that shut down propulsion and weapon systems. Little Independence Day there for you. I wonder if they've got a Mac PowerBook on board.
Priority alert. Additional hostile units detected on an intercept course with the Car Salim. Protection of the salvage team is a primary objective. It must return to the mothership with the mission recorder. We need that data.
Absolute firestorm. This guy's obviously not very wise. Wonders of concentrated firepower.
Acknowledged. Claw formation confirmed. Group 3 copies. Claw formation. Assuming wall formation. Group 1 responding. Group 3 receiving.
Start getting a little more aggressive now.
Group 1 to combat stations. Attack complete. Holding pattern locked in. Dock proceeding with Mothership 3 reporting.
Gonna send them to refuel because they don't have quite the range as my Corvettes do. It's very rare to have a Corvette run out of fuel. And they have definitely got the firepower to hold the fort on their own for now.
Target destroyed. Holding pattern locked in.
It's like whacking pinatas.
Intercept course punched in.
Especially concentrated fire. If you got 4 heavy Corvettes,
Salvage team docks safely. Downloading mission data recording.
and
Replaying
he
last
is
entry.
wisely buggering off.
Docking with
Intercept
Mothership initiated.
What do you mean you detect a hyperspace entry? The mothership isn't due for...
Sir, I have multiple contacts on closing vectors, unknown profiles, no recognition codes. They're not ours.
Well, if they're not ours, who the hell are they?
Sir, they're coming in fast. Check. Incoming fire. We are under attack. They're getting through. Breaches across all decks. Hull integrity failing.
Castle into mothership if you are receiving abort hyperdrive test. Repeat, abort hyperdrive test.
Assuming claw formation. Acquisition confirmed.
We are detecting enemy units advancing on our position. Organize a defensive force to protect the mothership.
And while I would love to ride out and meet the enemy head on, it's probably wiser to keep everybody close to home. Because if I get too far away from those heavy Corvettes, I start tending to take losses on my scouts and interceptor wings. Because heavy Corvettes are the bulk of the firepower I've got right now.
Group 2. Group 2 reporting. Acknowledged.
Group 2 reinforced.
Group 3 acknowledged. Group 2 receiving. Formation confirmed. Assuming claw formation. Group 1 copies. Group 2 and 3 responding. Target acquired. Group 3 copies. Group 1 receiving. Group 2. Group 3.
Trying to keep everybody together
Group 1 Group 2 reporting. Group 3 receive destination
so they
locked in.
support one another. I usually tend to take some losses here.
Target acquired.
Available resources
Group 2 combat
consumed.
stations.
Large power signature detected nearby. Recommend immediate investigation.
Entering holding pattern. Engaging.
We have determined that these enemy units are inferior to ours. Protect against penetration of the Karak system. Destroy the attacking
Yellow
force
ones.
completely.
Scouts back.
Group 2 reports victory.
Understood.
Just kill them all.
Engaging.
It's an enemy
Under
carrier.
attack.
They appear to be reinforcing their squadrons of fighters and corvettes with it.
Field battle.
Either the ship. The Disco Inferno
Holding pattern locked in.
docking bay.
stations.
Talking Group 3 acknowledged. Attack clearance received. Group 1 responding. Group 3 respond. Group 3 to combat station receiving. Group 3 copies. Target target. Holding pattern locked in. Group 1 copies. Establishing
Bring the
flow.
scouts back into play now that they've all exited the
Attack
mothership.
clearance received. Group 2 reporting.
Lost an interceptor, so we're gonna head back for repairs. I got a couple critical.
Holding pattern. Group 1. Group 3. Intercept course punched in. Group 1, under attack. Locked on target.
Once we kill enough of these guys, they should fall back. Just lost a scout. Another scout.
Group 1 reporting.
Send them back.
Coming into dock with Group 3 reporting. Target acquired. Group 1 responding.
Enemy units are retreating.
There we go.
Objectives complete.
Receiving.
Stand by for immediate return to Karak.
Coming into dock with mothership.
Group 1 to combat stations.
Group 3 responding. Roger that. Making final run. Gotcha.
Oh, I forgot the little wireframe. Once you get inside a collision mesh, it'll switch to a wireframe.
She's in.
Back in the days when you could probably count the number of polygons by hand.
Dock-con disengaged. We have
Production
acquisition.
underway.
Awaiting assignment.
Doesn't look like I'll have quite enough to finish this batch. Make sure I've finished all research here. Yeah, at this stage, just have to wait for everybody to finish building. And got as much out of that as I'm going to, so time to initiate the hyperspace jump.
Auto docking.
Just gonna do quick docking.
Hyperspace initiated.
Analysis of wreckage reveals the hostile units are using strike craft ranging from fighters to combat corvettes. All pilots will be briefed in case hostiles have penetrated farther into the Karak system. On our return to Karak, the final outfit of the mothership must be accelerated in order to defend against possible future attacks. Many major mothership systems are still incomplete. We will notify Karak's missile defense system of this possible threat. The mothership will then dock with the scaffold for repairs. Stand by for hyperspace exit to Karak.